Hey guys, my name is Joe Fritchman, and this is my persuasive speech, and it is entitled Gun Control. Gun control may be the hottest button issue in the country right now. On one side, the mindset is that guns should be a fundamental right in this country. The Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, the right to protect your house and home, and the right to be able to collect as many guns as you want without the government control. On the other side, the mindset is that guns are killing people. Times are changing. Something must be done in a country where mass shootings in schools, clubs, concert venues, pretty much anywhere and everywhere are happening with the frequency of the daily news. My proposal to this growing issue will keep guns in the hands of responsible gun owners and at the same time prevent guns from going into the wrong hands and saving lives. First, I will demonstrate a brief history of gun control in this country. To say that changing the Second Amendment in this country is un American, or that government intervention is a bad thing, is to completely ignore the rich history we all hold dear in this country. For example, in 1791, the Second Amendment is drafted in the United States Constitution. In 1934, the National Firearms Act passes in response to gangster culture, focusing on the manufacturing and distribution of automatics weapons in the U.S. In 1939, the Supreme Court upheld the ban on automatic weapons and sawed-off shotguns, implying that the Founding Fathers adopted the amendment to ensure that the new federal government could not disarm militias at its will. In 1968, Gun Control Act passed in response to the JFK assassination, calling for better control of guns and ammunition trafficking interstate. In 1986, the Firearm Owners Protection Act was approved, prohibiting felons from owning or possessing guns or ammunition in response to gangs that were targeting police officers in the 1980s. In 1993, Congress passed the Brady Act, which established a national criminal background check that dealers use before selling guns in response to the assassination attempt on President Reagan. In 1994, the Violent Crime Control Act banned 19 types of assault weapons in the United States, including Uzis and AK-47s. Now, I've just given you 6 examples of the government, Congress, and the Supreme Court adjusting the Second Amendment to fix the culture of firearms to fit in each societal time. So I ask you, does our time need gun control reform? Well, I think whether you're on one side or the other, you have to agree that it does. My transition will explain how things are today. In 1945, there were 47 million guns in this country, right after World War II. By the end of 2017, last year, there were 347 million guns in this country. Now that's an increase of 300 million guns in just 73 years. How about the fact that there are only 875 million guns in the whole of the world, and roughly 330 million people that live in this country? That means that of the 7.4 billion people that populate this world, the United States makes up just 4% of that pie. That also means that of the 875 million guns that accumulate this world, the United States controls 42% in this country alone. That's just under half of the global amount of firearms in this country. I don't know about you, but it seems to me that one gun for every American in this country is just not sounding right. I've met some people in this country that have no business being around firearms. So, what can we do? Well, my plan is first to raise the age of gun ownership to 21. Teenagers just have no business owning firearms. They're not toys, and people this age, they're still kids, no matter what anybody says. There's just no reason for anyone who is still attending a high school to also own a firearm, in my opinion. Next, we're going to establish a licensing system that will work just like driver's licenses do at the DMV. You'll be required to attend a week-long gun owner's ed class, teaching you everything you need to know about guns, from proper use to safe lockable storage. Then you'll be required to take a written test, demonstrating that you obtained the information required in responsible gun ownership. Finally, you'll have to complete a physical test conducted by an instructor at a shooting range to demonstrate that you know how to properly handle a firearm safely. And after all of that, you will still need to pass a felony and mental history background check to get your license. Okay? This plan doesn't acknowledge the millions of guns that are in private homes right now, but it does prevent future purchases and usages such as hunting, gun ranges, trade shows from getting into the hands of the wrong people. It would also discourage private sales from doing business without this license, ensuring that people with mental issues couldn't get it. My plan would also generate income at a state level that could be used for further research into the field of mass shootings. In 2017, there were roughly 24 million licensed drivers in the state. That generated $1.1 billion in funds for the DMV. Um, just think about how much income would be created if a national gun licensing system was adopted at the state level. So, in conclusion, there are far too many guns and opinions in this country, frankly, to go from either extreme, either banning guns or not. Uh, but we as a people must take steps together to do anything that we can to prevent mass shootings and gun violence from continuing to happen in this great country. Thank you for your time today, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the quarter. Thank you.